I'm Antoine Garibaldi, President of University of Detroit Mercy, for those of you who don't know me. And I want to thank you all for coming to today's press conference. I want to begin by first acknowledging the presence of several of our Board of Trustees members who are seated right up here in the front, and if they would wave their hand and show everyone. All distinguished members of our trustees who are here, and then one over here also. It's a pleasure also to see so many of the residents of this area's well-known neighborhoods, owners of established businesses on Livernois Avenue and McNichols Road, representatives of the Kresge Foundation, local and state government, the Detroit Corridor Initiative, the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, U3 advisors, members of the UDM Jesuit and Mercy communities, and of course faculty, staff, and students from the university community, and also members of the media. We are here today to celebrate some exciting news. Over the past 4 years, University of Detroit Mercy, the Kresge Foundation, and the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation have been meeting and having productive conversations with residents and business owners of this area about how we might revitalize the Livernois and McNichols corridor a little bit further. Over the last 2.5 years, these discussions have led to enhanced collaboration as we've engaged many more community representatives in the conversations. We realized in the beginning, and even more so recently, that to move our ideas and initiatives into reality, we really needed to have a more formal structure to achieve not only our short-term goals, but also our long-term goals and aspirations for this Livernois-McNichols corridor. And that is why we're here today, to announce the establishment of the neighborhood revitalization organization that we're calling Live6 Alliance. Live, of course, is shorthand for Livernois, and 6 is short for 6 Mile, which we also know as McNichols Road. And I have to take this opportunity to add this little aside that McNichols Road, for those of you who don't know, is named after the Jesuit president, Father John P. McNichols, who was president in the 1920s when this previous farmland became a new campus. This Live6 Alliance will serve as a vehicle to discuss and implement the 4 key goals of our organization: placemaking, neighborhood stabilization, business attraction and retention, and safety and security. Let me say just a few words about each of those 4 goals and their particular relevance to Live6 Alliance. Placemaking is really the process for making an area like the Livernois and McNichols corridor come alive. We will ask questions of and listen to the ideas, the needs, and also aspirations of our residents who live, work, and play in these adjoining neighborhoods. We certainly know that there are many beautiful places in our nearby neighborhoods, and we can build on the streetscape improvements that are already underway. But we also know that there are some places around the area that need major work. The neighbors and residents of this community will discuss the ways and best ways to improve these areas that have lost value, and also how we can use the arts and cultural events to attract and engage the neighborhood and campus communities. Neighborhood stabilization, our second goal, is an important one for Live6 Alliance. We want all of our neighborhoods to be vibrant and prosper. Live6 will work with the various community organizations in the area, including many of the neighborhood groups and block clubs, many of which are represented here today, to serve as a conduit between other participating institutions, the community, and the university, so we can align our shared needs and resources. Clearly, by stabilizing and strengthening the Livernois and McNichols neighborhoods, more families and businesses will be attracted to our area. Business attraction and retention is also critical to maintaining a vibrant Livernois-McNichols corridor. Given the diverse array of neighborhoods that are on and around Livernois and McNichols, as well as the demand from our area's institutions, Live6 will work to ensure that existing businesses are supported and new neighborhood services such as food, retail, and other amenities can find the best locations along the corridor where they will be supported. Business attraction will provide 3 immediate outcomes for this area: economic benefits for business owners, shopping opportunities for residents, and also jobs for local residents. And lastly, safety and security. These are truly essential for any strong neighborhood, and it will require that our residents and campus public safety work together with local law enforcement and also each other on existing security efforts so that the area is perceived and also is safe, appealing, and also a destination location for other visitors. For many years, several strategies have been implemented by community organizations and business associations to maintain and improve the residential and business communities in the area. These efforts have definitely assisted the neighborhoods, but they require a dedication of time, committed leadership, regular meetings, and financial resources. We are hopeful that Live6 Alliance will be able to harness the necessary time, energy, leadership, and also financial resources so that it can be a sustaining organization for many years and also a model for neighborhoods that also want to strengthen their respective areas. Live6 Alliance will operate over the next 2 years with an initial budget of $700,000 that the Kresge Foundation and University of Detroit Mercy have provided. Clearly, that will not be enough to do all of the things that we would like to accomplish. So we will be seeking supplemental funding from nonprofit and government sources to support specific enhancements in the area. Almost 1 year ago exactly, many of us here stood across the street breaking ground for Phase 1 of the Livernois Streetscape Enhancement Project. And as we can see, this first phase is nearing completion. But it's a perfect example of how a collaboration that involved the Kresge Foundation, University of Detroit Mercy, the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, developed a proposal to beautify the Livernois median from the Lodge Freeway to 8 Mile. The proposal was funded by the Michigan Department of Transportation with additional funding support from Kresge and the university. Live6 Alliance will be able to help us hopefully implement phases 2 through 5 and also be able to obtain resources for this project. The Alliance is currently seeking nonprofit status, and the Alliance's initial board members will include Benjamin Kennedy from the Kresge Foundation, Michael Forsythe, Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, and myself on behalf of University of Detroit Mercy. The Alliance is also in the process of identifying an interim community advisory committee comprised of residents and business leaders who will provide input on strategy and also assist in the facilitation of action. And the Live6 Alliance will continue to strengthen private-public partnerships and provide regular communication to neighborhood residents, businesses, and also the city. This university is 138 years old. It's a Detroit-based, strong, urban, Jesuit, and strong mission to this community. Therefore, our involvement in Live6 Alliance is consistent with Father McNichols and also the Jesuits' decision to not only build a campus here in 1922, but to remain here for the last 93 years. And the same is true for Sister Carmelita Manning, our religious sister of mercy, and the Sisters of Mercy, who founded in 1941 Mercy College of Detroit on Outer Drive, just a few miles away from here. And therefore, we are very, very excited to be part of the revitalization of the Livernois-McNichols corridor, and we're very optimistic about what the Live6 Alliance can do for this entire community. And I want to thank you all for being here today. And now it's my pleasure to introduce a very important person. He might not consider himself as important as he is, but I certainly do. And that's Rip Rapson, President and CEO of the Kresge Foundation. Without his confidence in this neighborhood and the financial support Kresge has provided over the last 4 years, we would not be here today. Rip became president of the Kresge Foundation in July 2006. He quickly initiated a multi-year transition to expand and recalibrate Kresge's grant-making. The foundation has focused strategically on funding programs seeking to expand opportunities in America's cities, which enhance arts and culture, education, the environment, health, human services, and community development efforts. Mr. Rapson is a graduate of Columbia Law School and has become an expert in urban policy through his work with the McKnight Foundation in Minneapolis and his public service as a deputy mayor of Minneapolis. Please welcome to the podium Rip Rapson, President and CEO of the Kresge Foundation.
Wow, good afternoon. It's getting bigger and bigger. We need more tents, Dr. Garibaldi. Sorry for those of you who are in the sun, but we're just delighted that you could join us today. I'm reminded of my very first meeting with Dr. Garibaldi after he arrived in Detroit just 4 years ago. From the very beginning, Dr. Garibaldi saw the needs and the opportunity of this corner of Livernois and 6 Mile. He saw the hunger of the neighboring community to be revitalized, and he saw the hunger of his university community to more deeply connect as a partner in that revitalization. He wanted to be a catalyst, and he came to Kresge and the city and others to bring us on board to help with some concrete, tangible things, like the streetscape improvements he mentioned, and to help begin to reknit the fabric of greatness here when so many people remember Livernois just as a stone's throw to the north. Remember Livernois at a time when it was just a stone's throw to the north and known as the Avenue of Fashion. And we and others came through to help with those things. But this has all been driven by Dr. Garibaldi's sense of urgency, his decency, and his commitment to making this place a better place to be. If I'm allowed to digress, I might mention that Dr. Garibaldi hails from New Orleans. And while our entire community was gripped by the tragedy of 10 years ago this month, Dr. Garibaldi was one of those who sweated through those tense days of the flood, anxious for each bit of news about the fate of kin, loved ones, friends, and associates. And likewise, he's followed the lessons of post-Katrina New Orleans. He's followed a recovery that many at the time thought would be impossible. Yet, in this case, that's not enough. Just doing something that seemed impossible is not enough. Both the successes and the continuing challenges of New Orleans can contain lessons from which we have much to learn about an inclusive recovery in urban America. And in fact, we've learned a lot already. I speak after having just been in New Orleans last week for a gathering of foundation leaders, a gathering that included the Ford Foundation, the Kellogg Foundation, J.P. Morgan Chase, and many others. It was both awe-inspiring and humbling. We saw the proof that our foundations can work with local, regional, and national partners on the ground to achieve results. We've supported efforts to build climate resilience, to support artists, to sustain educational institutions, and to build new housing. And when I say we supported efforts, what I really mean is that we supported the community. If New Orleans has reaffirmed anything to us, it's the importance of community engagement and the importance of a related concept, building our civic capacity, which is simply the ability to join together and to get things done. To cite one important lesson, the community engagement of New Orleans' 21st Century Master Plan guided us in the inclusiveness of the Detroit Future City Plan, and now helps Detroiters to harness the potential for our land, developed, underdeveloped, and undeveloped, and for green infrastructure, for agriculture, for commercial business development, for residential development, all building on the strength and the tradition of new arrangements among all sectors of our community. Organizations like Live6, whose genesis we are announcing with such high hopes today, are, and increasingly will be, essential in moving Detroit forward. We don't have to go all the way to New Orleans to see what engagement of community and institutions can bring about. We only have to go 2 miles to the east on McNichols and 10 miles south on Woodward to see the work of Midtown Inc. What for many decades has been recognized as the cultural heart of the city has come to be stronger and stronger as a wide variety of cultural institutions, higher educational institutions, medical institutions, commercial interests, and others have come together in a single organization as stewards for their district. The Live6 Alliance will be an outgrowth of this community, its character and its institutions, just as Midtown is to the Midtown community and to its geography. Live6 promises to take the lessons of Midtown to build something as fine-tuned for and with this community to serve it as Midtown has done with its community. So Dr. Garibaldi, I want to express Kresge's gratitude for letting us join here with you today and with so many in this community. I think it's an extraordinary moment. I remember when we first engaged with Sue Mosey with some of her plans for the revitalization of the Midtown area. And they seemed almost grandiose. It was almost beyond conception that you could actually, 10 years ago, look at that place of this city and see the kind of potential, the richness, the diversity, the activity that Sue could see, but many of the rest of us couldn't. But I think that's what you represent today here. It's sometimes tough to see what the path is and how to reimagine a place with all of its complexity. But I think what's so incredible, even today in this afternoon's turnout, is to see the extraordinary passion and commitment and belief that this community holds for the future of this part of Detroit. It's an honor to be here. It's a privilege to be among so many people who work so hard every day to make this community work better. And with your leadership, it's going to happen. So I want to ask next to the podium Michael Forsyth from the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation. Michael has been just a rock out here. He has worked for the last number of years all up and down the avenues trying to make sure that the kinds of investments we make here not only deeply engage the community in the work, but also have staying power. He's been just I think, a real beacon of energy and hope and aspiration, and we're delighted to have him with us. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Rip, and thank you, Dr. Garibaldi. I'll start my speech the way I always do whenever I'm speaking to a crowd up here on Livernois, and I'll start by just saying I'm honored and humbled to be a part of it. There's so much history here, there's so much culture, and there's so much talent amongst the community of people who care and people who do. Everyone here is working towards the best community that we can have. And for me, it's a real honor to be a part of that in a small way. And when I thought about my remarks today, I wanted to share some of the lessons I learned that maybe could help guide us as we embark on this new path forward. And, you know, it's not a trail that hasn't been blazed before. We have a lot of amazing community champions, many of which who are here who've been doing it. So, you know, we have our guides to lead us, and we've certainly been taking cues from that in the past. So I started with the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation 4 years ago and was asked to help advance some initiatives on Livernois Avenue, and I quickly learned that we already had a great starting point. You know, we started with the median project, and there had been a lot of work done in the past, and there were a lot of opinions on the way to move forward. And, you know, we quickly learned that, you know, here on the Ave and on McNichols, it's not just about the project that creates value, it's about the process. And it's about who you engage, and it's about when you engage them and how you keep moving forward. And I think that will be critical for us as we move forward with this program, is seeking the input and building on what's already here. You know, oftentimes these things look like challenges, but they present incredible opportunities. So thinking about the process is a very important way to do that, and I'm excited that we're starting that process today. The other thing that I've really learned here is that things are always seemingly more difficult than they first appear. Right? We all know that from our work up here. You know, whether it's getting seeds to take root, or activating vacant storefronts, or, you know, bringing everyone together. These are things that are difficult, and these are things that take time. And, you know, just as Mr. Rapson mentioned, you know, Midtown Detroit didn't change overnight. But, you know, I think it's consistent. You know, you all see the same things here. Perhaps even more tremendous opportunities. There's no other place in Detroit that has the quality and diversity of neighborhoods that surround this area. 2 universities, a thriving business district with many amazing businesses to build from. You find it in new places when you go to look for it. Amazing entrepreneurial talent that we found right in the community that we didn't know existed. And, you know, we were fortunate enough to play a small part in helping business owners start their dream. You know, whether it's Good Cakes and Bakes or Mandisa and Najma at Fiberworks, or, you know, even, you know, the folks doing the day-to-day, you know, folks like Robert watching 1917's parking lot, and, Lolita and Kim and Gus and Alicia just all working together to get this done. It's all right here, and we see the ingredients and we know how to come together. It's exciting now, especially with the university and Dr. Garibaldi's leadership, to really kind of create a formal way to harness that. And I think you'll see these pieces coming together, right? Success, the ingredients are important, but the timing is right, too, to make things happen. And I think the time is now. And, while I think it will take a while to evolve, I think you'll see this area really realize its potential. And I know that we will only be able to do that if we together do that. And I'm excited that we're all here today. It's a great turnout. So I'll just keep it short and really turn it over to a couple champions, two of many that have been doing some great work here in the community for a number of years. So I'd like to invite up to the podium Gus Nash and Alicia Biggers to say a few words about all the great work that's already happening and how to contribute on the way forward. Guys, thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Gaston Nash. I actually live in the Fitzgerald neighborhood right across the street. I'm really excited for today's announcement. It's it's something that I think the community has been waiting for a long time, and that's not to downplay all of the great work that people have done in the past, but I really think that in order to move this neighborhood where it needs to be, we had to have everybody kind of come together, the businesses, the community, the schools, and really come together and move this thing forward. We needed everybody to come together. So, I think in the past, people have said that we need to wait for what's happening downtown to kind of trickle out to the neighborhoods. And I really don't believe in that. I think we have all of the assets and tools that we need in this neighborhood to be the best neighborhood out there, to be the desired neighborhood in Detroit. And, if you ask me and if you ask Alicia, who's about to speak, this is the best neighborhood in Detroit already. We, hands down, we don't argue about that. So, the other thing I wanted to say was I really have deep confidence in Live6 and its board and Dr. Garibaldi. Ever since I've been here, Dr. Garibaldi came around the same time that I did, and he's been a community champion. And I thank him for that. And, the community will be working with Live6. And as you heard Michael and Mr. Rapson talk, they're very community-minded people. They want to get the community's opinion first. And I really think great things will happen, and I'm looking forward to that. Alicia?
Well, good afternoon. I'm going to wear two hats today. My first hat is I'm the president of Bagley Community Council, which is McNichols to Outer Drive, Wyoming to Livernois. That's about 5,000 homes or 12,000 people. And then I also have another hat I'm going to wear today, which is the president or chair of the 12th Precinct Neighborhood Coalition, which is a coalition of all the neighborhoods between John R. and the Lodge, and 8 Mile. So a lot of land. And I don't know what else to say that hasn't been already said, except for let's get started, This area, as everyone has alluded to, has a great foundation, has strong roots, incredible talent. I akin it to a set of silver that's been sitting there on the shelf just gathering some dust and needs a little tarnish, a little polish. And I think once it's polished, you'll have this beautiful set of silver, these beautiful diamonds in the rough that you can come home to. This area is a unique area. It's a destination. It's an experience. And having everybody come together, community, business, foundations, business associations, the city, everyone coming together to work on this will only give us further. We've had many efforts to create this foundation that you see today that we can build upon, and I'm really excited to see how it comes forth. I will be more excited when I see all these wonderful faces out in the community, so when we have all our activities out there, whether it's lighting up Livernois or picking up trash or giving school supplies out, we'll see everything. I've seen seeds started with UDM, with the students out for cleanups and for walks on the business community and things like that. So the future is very bright, and I thank you for the partnership, and I'm ready to roll up some sleeves, and as I said, let's get started. So thank you guys. And I'm going to turn it back over to Michael.
Such a good transition, Alicia. Let's get started. Okay, so, press conference, we need to, announce the organization, right? But really, the whole point is to hear what you have to say, not us. So we have a fun engagement activity that is going to be led by Dan Patera, Sierra, and the Detroit Collaborative Design Center crew. So we're starting work in earnest right now. So there's a question posed on this chalkboard, right? It is the first day of school, right? So we can't avoid the chalkboard. So there's a question, and it is: we can positively impact our community, ... So we need you all to fill in the blank, right? So when we think about forming this organization, right, we need your input about what's important, what the priorities are, what the aspirations are, and we can dream big. Nothing is unachievable up here, and sure, it's going to take a lot of hard work, and it's going to take a lot of conversations, and we're not always going to agree. But I'm confident that when we all gather around this board and we start talking about what you're writing on it, many of us will have the same ideas. So if we can, this board right up over here, we're going to start having a conversation and start writing down what we should focus on and how we can work together to make a difference up here.
I didn't think it was coming then. Hey, they did it. Cool.
NSSA.